One type of food Chicago specializes in is the Italian beef sandwich. Normally it's a very affordable dish, even from the best establishments. But one Chicago restaurant known as Kindling took this sandwich to a new level by using Wagyu beef and other premium ingredients to craft their example. And it isn't cheap. The sandwich goes for $29, and that's before tax and tip. I wanted to see if it was worth it.
Today I'm along the shore of Lake Michigan in the beautiful city of Chicago. Honestly, it's like the most picture-perfect summer day right now. I'm primarily here to visit and spend some time with my family, but of course, I still have to get some good food. And when I'm here, I want to make sure that the food I'm getting is stuff that I can't necessarily get in NYC. I want to get the food that Chicago specializes in. And one of my favorite specialties of the city is the Italian beef sandwich. Now, I've pretty much been to all the classic spots for Italian beef, Portillo's, Al's, Mr. Beef, and they're all fantastic. But I recently saw an article on Eater Chicago about this super fancy and kind of expensive Italian beef at a restaurant called Kindling. This sandwich isn't cheap. If one gets everything on it, it's $29, and that's before tax and tip. The thing is, even at the most famous restaurants for Italian beef, the sandwich has always been really affordable and really delicious. So that made me wonder, can the humble Italian beef sandwich be elevated to a fine dining level? And will it be worth it with a price tag that much? That's what I strove to find out today. So this is my lunch of a very luxurious Italian beef sandwich at the restaurant Kindling in downtown Chicago.
Kindling is located within Chicago's most recognizable building, Willis Tower, which was originally known as the Sears Tower. For almost 25 years, the skyscraper held the title as the tallest building in the world. Unfortunately, Kindling is located on the ground level, so there is no spectacular city view. However, inside the establishment, it's a decent-looking restaurant which is centered around a massive wood-fired grill which contributed a warm and comforting smell to the space. Kindling is the product of James Beard award-winning chef Jonathon Sawyer, who opened the highly praised and now sadly closed Greenhouse Tavern in Cleveland. In addition, he has appeared on a number of cooking competition shows such as Bobby's Triple Threat and Guy's Grocery Games, and has been pretty successful at it. Sawyer opened Kindling in 2023 and has received a solid amount of praise for the establishment, including a respectable 2.5-star review from the Chicago Tribune. The restaurant's menu really seems to have something for everyone. While I knew that I would be ordering the Italian beef, I was nevertheless intrigued by the other options. I've seen pictures of Kindling's food from their Instagram and other platforms such as Yelp and Google reviews, and it looks amazing. But like I said, I was there for the Italian beef. The sandwich by itself goes for $24, but I've heard the $5 extra raclette cheese whiz really adds to the dish, so I went with that as well, equating to a $29 Italian beef, which was by far the most expensive example of that sandwich that I've ever had. Appearance-wise, I've certainly had larger versions of the sandwich, but at least it comes with fries. But in the end, it all comes down to taste, and thankfully, it tasted amazing. Obviously, the beef is the most important element in an Italian beef, and Kindling's meat was first rate. A total of 8 ounces of Chateau Farms American Wagyu dripping with jus comprised the sandwich. It was so tender and flavorful, with an excellent mouthfeel. The beef was clearly a step above the competition. To amplify the meat even more, Sawyer utilizes aged fish sauce and shoyu. The meat is cured for an entire day and then is roasted for 12 more hours. Next, the beef is seared and allowed to rest before it's sliced and dipped in a consommé with anchovies and shoyu. The result is a very beefy and rich sandwich. However, the other components of the Italian beef certainly play a role when it comes to the success of the dish. On top of the beef was a wonderful giardiniera from the iconic West Loop sandwich shop J.P. Graziano. The mixture added a nice tang and spice, but never overwhelmed the flavor of the meat. Perhaps the most unique component of the dish was the raclette cheese whiz. I've had cheese in an Italian beef before, but it's not the most common topping, and the fact that it's cheese whiz brought to mind the Philly cheesesteak. However, it worked. The cheese added a slight creaminess, but an awesome funkiness that complemented the beef so well. Holding everything together was bread from the local Chicago bakery 3D Baking. To amplify the bread, it receives a spread of beef fat and salt and is then toasted. As a result, the bread was so much more than just a vessel for the meat, but a complementary flavor component for the dish, resulting in easily one of the best Italian beef sandwiches in Chicago. However, it wasn't the only delicious piece of food on my plate. The fries, which were inspired by the fries from McDonald's, blew me away. Now I love fine dining, but I still enjoy the occasional visit to the Golden Arches. My usual order consists of 20 chicken nuggets with whatever sauces I'm feeling that day, a medium side of fries, and one of those pies. Yeah, I know it's not healthy, but let's not forget that when Usain Bolt dominated the 2008 Olympics, his diet consisted of hundreds of McNuggets. Anyways, back to McDonald's fries. I like them, and they have a unique flavor. Although it always seems like there's something wrong with them, whether they're not fresh or being over-seasoned or under-seasoned, they can still be pretty satisfying. Kindling's example takes what makes McDonald's fries good and amplifies it to a fine dining level. Years ago, McDonald's fried their fries in beef fat but have since altered their preparation. Kindling, however, fully embraces the use of beef fat, which equated to some absolutely fantastic fries. Upon taking my first bites, I was instantly reminded of McDonald's, but not any McDonald's that I've ever been to. It was like a McDonald's situated in heaven and run by a staff of Michelin-starred chefs. The fries were just so perfect. Kindling nailed the McDonald's flavor and improved it. Plus, their fries weren't plagued by the myriad of issues that can often hamper McDonald's offering. They were, of course, texturally satisfying and properly seasoned, but they were taken to an even greater level when dipped into the accompanying side of giardiniera aioli. As the name implies, the sauce is a combination of giardiniera and aioli. It has the tempered flavor of giardiniera but the creaminess of aioli, and paired perfectly with my fries. While enjoying my food, Chef Jonathon Sawyer even came up to me and gave me a cup of the raclette cheese to also pair with my fries. It was pretty neat to meet the chef. He definitely seems like a nice guy, and I appreciated the opportunity to try something more. The raclette cheese combined with the fries was very tasty, although as the cheese cooled down and hardened, it made it difficult for dipping, but nevertheless, I enjoyed it. Between my fries and sandwich, I was enjoying a hell of a great lunch. While I'll always have a love for the classic Chicago Italian beef, I really enjoyed seeing how the sandwich could be elevated to the fine dining realm. No doubt about it, it was a great meal. While I would have loved to have had a dessert, I did have a schedule to keep, so I just asked for the bill. My total came to $32.41, but there was also annoyingly a credit card fee, which brought the total to $33.38, and with my tip, I spent just under $40. Now that was pretty expensive for just a sandwich and fries.
So was it worth it? Hell yes. That was absolutely delicious. I loved that sandwich. But that is definitely not your everyday Italian beef sandwich, that's for sure. You know, $29 is still expensive, but then when you add tax and tip, and considering I spent almost $40, yeah, that's really expensive. Just think about it, for that price, you can get like 3 to 4 Italian beef sandwiches from like Al's or Portillo's. I mean, that's a big difference in price. However, I'm a huge fan of Italian beef sandwiches, and I'm always willing to pay a higher price if the quality is aligned with the cost. And that was definitely a quality sandwich. But still, it's not something I can do as often as, say, Al's or Portillo's or Mr. Beef, but at the same time, it was definitely worth the splurge. It's nice to have something like that every once in a while. And I know there's some controversy behind this sandwich, people saying that Italian beef is one of those items that should never be expensive. And I get where those people are coming from, but I do think there's a place where one can elevate simple and humble foods to a fine dining level. I just really appreciate that a chef like Jonathon Sawyer can take the Italian beef sandwich, elevate it, and bring it to a whole other level. Plus those fries that came with this sandwich, now they were really good as well. And overall, I really enjoyed Kindling as a restaurant. Their whole menu looks really good, and I'd love to go back to try some of their other options. But today was all about their Italian beef, which was truly a phenomenal sandwich. I loved it, and it is so worth it.